الجلال والإكرام.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Praise me to Allah, the cherisher and sustainer of the world, and blessing be on our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family and his companion. Our respected speaker, Emeritus Professor Dato Dr. Mat Tahir Mat Azhar, our, our Deputy Rector, Academic and Industrial Linkages, Professor Ahmad Faris Ismail, Deans, Directors, Senior Officers, and staff of the GOMBAK, Gambang, Kuantan, and Pago campuses, brothers and sisters in this hall, and those who watching to live streaming. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to all. First and foremost, the Office of Ombudsman and Integrity full-heartedly welcomes all to our first talk program for the year 2020. We thank you for your support. Also, a friendly reminder, I seek everyone's cooperation in this hall to switch your phone to silent mode. Thank you. Distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, for your information, the establishment of Office of Ombudsman and Integrity is one of the manifestations of the university's commitment to uphold good governance in line with the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG 16, on peace, justice, and strong institutions. Before Dato Dr. Mat Tahir deliver his talk, allow me to read his credential. Emeritus Professor Dato Dr. Mat Tahir Mat Azhar has served IIUM with distinction in several capacities, among them as Deputy Rector of Academic and Planning, Founding Dean of the Kuliah of Medicine, and the first Director of IIUM Kuantan Campus. He was born in Kanga in 1949. After completing secondary school at Malay College Kuala Kangsar, he studied medicine at University of Malaya. His career in medicine started in General Hospitals of Penang and Kanga, followed by a stint in Saudi Arabia for the Malaysian Pilgrims Fund Board and at University of Malaya. In 1978, he joined UKM as trainee lecturer in internal medicine. He obtained his MRCP in 1980 in Edinburgh, followed by DMRT in London and FFRRCSI in Dublin in 1985, FRCP in 1990 in Glasgow, and FRCP in 1994 in Edinburgh. At UKM, he was appointed as Deputy Dean Development and Training, editor of its medical journal, and a consultant in radiotherapy and oncology. Besides being active in several professional bodies, including the Malaysian Oncology Society as president till 1997, and Asia-Oceania Clinical Oncology Association as secretary till 1998. He has also been on the scientific committee for several conferences on cancer, including the Asian Conference on Gynecological Cancer and Asia-Pacific Conference on Cancer. He was also Vice President of Malaysian National Cancer Council, MACNA, till 1998. Dato Dr. Mat Tahir also had several engagements at the international level. In 1999, he represented Malaysia in the RCA Committee of IAEA as advisor in training of radiation oncology workers for developing countries through distance learning. In June 2000, he was on the IAEA Advisory Committee to draft the future use of long-life radioisotopes in Vienna, Austria. In 2001, he was nominated by IAEA to advise on the introduction of linear accelerators in Hanoi Cancer Center, Republic of Vietnam. He is still active with teaching appointment in medicine in Taylor's University till March 2020. Moving on to the highlight of this morning event, without further ado, I have the distinct honor and privilege to invite Emeritus Professor Dato Dr. Mat Tahir Mat Azhar to deliver his talk. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Firstly, I must thank all of you who are here to listen to what can be a boring lecture, because I think that even the title, Ombudsman, people are wondering what it is. So all the more reason that I should say something about the topic and about what this is all about. Because when the Office of the Ombudsman was established, I was being asked, what is this ombudsman thing? And mind you, this did not come only from very highly very ordinary people, but from very highly qualified people holding big position, high position, because they congratulated me. Oh, congratulations, you're being appointed the ombudsman. And then I said, oh, thank you. Actually, what is an ombudsman? So I take this opportunity to engage with staff and everyone in the university to try and explain and give some background as to what this is all about. Well, for one thing, it is not Batman or Bushman. It is ombudsman. The origin of the word ombudsman is actually a Viking term. Viking are the people of Scandinavian region. They were the first to use this name and term to refer to somebody who is a representative ombudsman. And it is supposed to be independent, fair, and good listener, and no vested interest kind of individual. He helps to settle things, reconcile, things like that. So worldwide now, it is used to designate an independent and an impartial and confidential entity, whether it is a person or an establishment. And it receives inquiries and complaints from individuals or designated group or any group and facilitate fair and equitable resolution. That is in a crystal ball, what is an ombudsman and ombudsman office. Next slide. Next slide, please, Ardi. That is just the elaboration of what I just said just now, going into the details of it a little bit. Now give the next slide to show the various entities that use ombudsman, but with slight bias, and bias means slant, to what the agency is supposed to function. For example, the agencies, various agencies anywhere can have an ombudsman. Their function is principally the same, but with added features. For example, a private entity can have an ombudsman who are paid to fight for them, to educate, but represent them. That is one kind of ombudsman. The other one is some government have ombudsman with different names. Malaysia has, I think some of you can confirm this, those politicians especially, what is called a parliamentary commissioner. Parliamentary commissioner is supposed to listen to all grudges and complaints amongst the parliamentarian. That is an ombudsman, also an ombudsman. And then there is institutions who have, like IIUM, to have an office. I'll go into details later, how we, IIUM, or how IIUM, I shouldn't say we, because if I say we, I'm siding with you IIUM already. How you, IIUM, see and formulated this entity ombudsman office and what is its function expected to be. You see, we will elaborate that. Now, now you know something about the variation and slant of what an ombudsman is. You can go to the next slide, please. There is a little history to this establishment of ombudsman office in the university. It is actually related to governance and some purpose that is spelled out very clearly. I will go into this later. And the details of the structure and establishment of this, this office. We will go into that with the next slide, which will make things a bit more clearer. There is the hierarchy in the university that the highest governing body is the Board of Governors. And then there is the various university entities and departments and kuliahs and everything. This will be what forms the organization, the IIUM. Now, having such a big organizations like a ship, there is bound to be what we call disagreement, rifts, misinterpretation, miscommunication, malcommunication, dissatisfaction amongst all members or some members of the organization. So there will be conflicts. There will be what we call entities taking different positions. And if it reaches a boiling point, then it has to be settled. And who to settle? Usually it is the agencies and the departments and the kuliah. They are already there, but they have vested interest, meaning not vested interest in the bad sense, but they are representing, like the administration, for example, will tend to represent those working under them. The lecturers, if they are favored by the dean, say, I'm just giving an example, then he tends to be protected by, so there is no independent or third-party arbitration, as it were. So this is where the entity of ombudsman is best be made use of, where he sees it from a very neutral position and see how he can facilitate, resolve the conflict. He is not a lawyer or a defending lawyer or a prosecutor, but really somebody who will look into the matter and try to resolve in a way that is neutral and fair as far as possible. And he doesn't not give punishment, as it were. So that is in brief trying to explain that slide there. And the item, next slide, the items or the areas where we have a role to play is that strengthening good governance, enculturating integrity and good values, identifying issues through detection and verification, ensuring compliance of staff and students to policies, rules, and regulation of the institution. So we manage complaints, concerns, or dissatisfaction, or reported allegation of misconduct involving management of the university. We also cover remedial grievances. That means those who feel aggrieved, they can come and discuss with us. But the process has got a designated committee. In fact, we are so lucky to have Prof. Faris himself is the chairman of this grievance committee. For example, if there is a conflict between two parties, they have one party feel aggrieved, they can come to our office and lay bare what things are. And if it can be resolved at that stage, well and good. That is what we hope. But if it doesn't, then we can refer to Prof. Faris, where he will then get the motion through to see what is what and arbitrate, right? And then there is what we call, I summarize this in a very simple way. For those who want to walk away with a take-home message, this place, this Ombudsman office, is about two things. If somebody feels that he is being wronged, then he can come. He is being wronged, number one. Number two, if he feels that there is something wrong somewhere, most welcome. So if you feel wrong, here you are. If you see something wrong, you think it may not be, please come. So those are the only two things. So the second one, I see something wrong, it's called a whistleblower. He sees something bad to his in his perspective, and he wants it to be with an honest and ikhlas one, you know, not makcik bawang kind of thing, you know. This is really he thinks some injustice or something bad or something that should not occur has been occurring. He wants to have it addressed. He can come as a whistleblower, and we have a policy of whistleblower protection. Not another whistle to blow about the whistleblower. Sometimes, you know, what happened in real life is that some whistleblower come, the next day, everybody whistling that he's the one, he's the one. I mean, that shouldn't happen, and we are the custodian of the whistleblower. So we have a policy in that we will protect any whistleblower. And next slide, please. A bit of history and background in how our Ombuds office has been formed. The establishment of the office has been also entrusted with the integrity aspect, so that the integrity section of the legal office has been transplanted into our office. And this was discussed at the highest level of the university, the Board of Governors, in its meeting number 55, November last year. And the office, with all its regulations and procedures established. And the purpose being, next slide, the purpose being solely, this is a repetition, to be accessible and to be trusted by the IIUM community, as well as the public. You'll be surprised that this office is also available for public out there to bring to attention what their complaints or dissatisfaction are. That is good, because sometimes we are so inward looking, we don't know what the outsiders are thinking, and we have no access, they have no access, we have no access to them, apart from reading the newspaper and listening to gossip. That is not good. So if there is an avenue, way, or a road for them, for the public, to complain or voice their opinion, that would be good. And that is a good thing for any institution, to allow itself to be evaluated, criticized, or even praised by outsiders, who are actually our stakeholders. And the appointment of the Ombudsman is by the BOG in accordance with the Article 5(4) of the Constitution of the IIUM. So it is not somebody's fancy, you know. Somebody said, I want ombudsman. Why? Because other universities have ombudsman. No, this is formed properly by proper constitution of the university. Next slide, please. This is just for, you can gloss over this. Just of some repetition there. The characteristic of the Ombudsman Office: neutral, impartial, confidential, and independent. And the fourth thing there, informal. This one I want to elaborate it a little bit. It is not involved with any formal investigative procedure, like calling for witnesses, sit in a session, and then question, counter question. That is more like a, what you call a legal session. This is not. This is an informal discussion where things are verified, and then as the Ombudsman give opinion, advise, negotiate, and try and settle things, if possible, at that level, amicably. If still not happy, still not achieved, which is sad, then it will go further, either to legal office or even to the, what's the name of the judge who gave judgment recently? Very famous judgment. Even up there, so you go. Magistrate court, high court, appeal court, federal court. Not happy? There are cases here that I have not heard, I have seen, have gone right up to the court. And after court give ruling, balik sini, can I go to Ombudsman Office? Udah terbalik. Actually, when it reaches their pronouncement and the ruling has been given, a verdict has been given, that's the end of the road. If you have to go to jail, you go to jail. If you have to pay, you have to pay. If you are acquitted, you are acquitted. If you are discharged with an acquittal, you are discharged with an acquittal, depending on the. So with this establishment, actually, we hope that the majority of cases which would have been legal cases become ombudsman cases and settle amicably. And I tell you, it will resolve and save a lot of time. I'll mention that a little bit later. The nature of work, next slide, is mainly, like I said, conflict resolution. I have been wronged. And enhancing integrity. That means whistleblower, I see something wrong and we want to enhance the integrity of the entire institution. And the Ombudsman will assist by discussing issues, evaluating available options to resolve the issue, referring issues to related officers of solution if not settled at that level, notifying the university of any gaps and inadequacies, and at the end of the day, the Ombudsman Office will give a recommendation to the board what is to be the best option for that particular case. So that is then up to the university to take it or to ignore it or to wait for the opportune time to implement. So that is the nature and the limitations and the reference for the office. Next slide. Now about jurisdiction and authority of the office. It makes recommendation, that's a repetition, and advisory proposition to the university. It works with integrity, consistently, and maintenance of confidentiality, and to informally and independently manage conflict without any vested interest. What the Ombudsman Office does not do must also be taken note of. It does not make any binding decision or policies or procedures to the university. Not like a mahkamah or legal office. It does not participate in any formal, not informal, any formal investigative or educative procedures. Educative means giving punishment and things like that. It does not provide legal advice and is not authorized to speak on behalf of the university. And it does not replace the formal processes already available in the university. And most of the work, actually, of the Ombudsman Office is based or is in reference to the work already done or could have been done or should have been done at the department, kuliah, and university level. And we are actually, the university is delegating now the majority of work, of discipline and thing to the kuliah, facilitating the whole exercise. And the whole exercise of this establishment of the office and the working of the office is, next slide, is to contribute to the overall efficiency and complement existing departments and agencies of the university. That is the concluding remark. Now, I wish to say something. This is going to be very brief. If you are not very much into listening to what has been said before, or we tend to forget. I forgot everything that I said just now. The take-home message is this. The take-home message. You have a place who will willingly listen to if you feel you have been wrong. You have a place. 2, if you think that something needs to be attended to for the benefit of the university and everybody, you have a place there. If you hear public complaining about the university, you tell them there is a place you can go and officially inform so that we can know and try and address the issue. That is very important because from my personal experience, I hear a lot of what you call this chatting about how this institution is not good for the country, even for the world. I know this guy called, he's not here now, he's gone back to the other world, from a neighboring country. He said the greatest mistake this country, Malaysia, does in education is to establish this university. If he's alive, I'll tell him come and complain to my office. Some of you know, those of you who read memoirs of great leaders of the world, you will see that. He wrote it. I was shocked. Nampak gaya tak ada siapa baca Lee Kuan Yew punya memoir. What? The greatest mistake. So that is from the top. From the bottom pun ada. Oh, that university. In between, you know lah, between the baina wal arda was sama, antara bumi dan langit itu penuh komplain. So therefore, these are the 5 things I wrote down to try and as a take-home message. It is best to maintain professionalism and wisdom in our communication and action. Number 1. Number 2, because I see the problem here is mainly communication. A good example is that we tend to overuse the word when I disagree with you. I say, what, why you allege me? Wow. Allegation, mitigation, litigation, leave it for the lawyers. What you tuduh saya macam tu? Why you? Okay, it's a better term. No, allegation. So it is best to maintain professionalism and wisdom in our communication and action, number 1. Number 2, always put organizational mission first above personal interest. With that attitude, you will be more weighted and cautious about what we do, what we say, how we do, how we say. Because we always put organizational mission first. And with the mission that you put in, there is hardly any time for anything else. Only to put up good things. Number 3, work and nurture organizational integrity. Number 4, know that conflicts and adversarial stances needs a little bit of adversarial stances ni pantang terchallenge sikit. You want to take a stand or a trend of wanting to argue. You should discuss, not argue. So know that conflicts, realize that conflicting and adversarial stances are entropic to the organization. Entropy ini Prof. Faris seorang aja paham. dia engineer. Entropy is anything you do that is wasted energy. It seems that you are doing something good and something which is beneficial, but actually it's wasted. Kosong. And it's called an entropy. In thermodynamics, it is called entropy. So don't be entropic, because human life usually, makcik bawang tu is entropy. A good example is makcik bawang. Dia cakap macam-macam. Tapi all of no consequence and useless, wasting time. Nasi tak masak, gulai hangit. It's entropic. So don't, it is entropic to the organization in terms of time and effort. And it has got zero benefit. And I have calculated, just based on one case that I went through, it was 100 man-woman hours. Expert men wasted 100, one case. That means like 100 men wasting time for 1 hour, 100. Or one professor wasting time for 100 hours. Sini banyak profesor ada 200. More, 200 kali 100 berapa dah. So because all this thing happen at high level. So very, very entropic. So if possible, we should try and cancel that off. And of course, fifthly, to maintain both discipline and muhibbah. Nothing can replace that. If all these 5 are done, then I will be the happiest man here, because I don't have any work to do. Everybody, that is supposed to be humor, don't take it seriously. But the 5 things, take it seriously. I think I will stop there, and if there are any questions, that is better for me. And if there is none, makan pun tak ada, tidak kita boleh makan. If there is none, we get back to our feet and work the way we have done all the time. And all the best for all of you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dato'. Moving on, we open to question and answers. But we have collected one question from our online participants, from Brother Muhammad Irwan Arifin. His question...
He's from where?
Not sure.
Kuliah
of Economics. Dr. Irwan.
Kuliah of?
Economics.
Economics.
So, question from Dr. Irwan from Kuliah of Economics. Is it like Al-Hisbah in the history of Islam regarding this ombudsman?
Short answer, we wish we can. Yeah.
There you have it. Okay, so I open.
Any good example from the Prophet, from Khalifah, from all the good people, that should be our example. Yes. Next one. Satu soalan saja. Yes, Prof. Wahab. You're not Wahabi, no?
Happy. Cuma, I have one which I find that I'm not sure whether Ombudsman will do it or not. Because sometimes feedback we get from social media and so forth, you know. Are we, in this case here, is Ombudsman going to basically look at issues that comes from social media, or anything that come rather than you go and look for it?
Ombudsman office don't go hunting. That means, but if the issue is seen by the university as something that need to be addressed and ask us to do so, request, we will. Okay. But if we go to address what we see, what they wrote, then no, the short answer is no. But if it is an issue that the university requests, then we will. We should.
Because I thought,
Thank you, very good question.
Like issues, for example, there are a lot of things that people has been talking about in the social media about IIUM and so
Yeah,
forth.
yeah, yeah.
You know?
Plenty, every day, even now. As we are talking, they are writing all sorts of things. You just zero into those whom you think are potential adversaries, and they're full of it. Anything
Any
else?
more questions?
Wan Najihah dah. Najihah tak ada soalan. Dia supply all the answers. Dia lawyer. Waalaikumsalam. Yes, they are most. We have been dealing with student problem that a few already. Those who were denied, those who were sacked. Sack mean what do you call dismissed? They call dismissed. I call sack lah. Those who was one was sacked and he was appealing, and the other one was visa problem and say we are unfair. The other one was applying to enter university. Well, that guy from Australia. Visa issue. Most welcome. We will direct them accordingly. Those that are not associated or that's not our plate of rice. Yeah, not our.
So he's from CFS. So maybe just what is your office plan to take care of the Kuantan, Pago? I mean, are you going? Because we have various. Or they have to come here.
They can initially they can email with this. Number one, there are the facilities. Number two, and if it is necessary, we call them. But if it is not, just over the air, we can clear. We have done that also through email only, and they were resolved. Tambah COVID lagi. Yes. Any? Yes, Prof. Wahab.
Because I know that as far as Ombudsman is concerned, the whole objective is trying to help the university to get better. How do we, in this case, how does information after Ombudsman has found out and so forth is trickle down towards the executioner or the implementers in this particular case?
You mean how do we get our services be known?
Yeah.
We have tried. This is one of the exercises. That means trying to get all the people who are in the university to be aware and to know what we are and what it's supposed to be. And number two, there are pamphlet and there's a website also. There's a website. Yang tak buat pergi campaign je lah. Give a specific example.
For example, macam exam student complain about issue from visa. So there are things we can do, there are things we cannot do, that we can do, and so forth. So what are the things that we can do in this case to improve? So those kind of information, how does it go down to the player in this particular case? So this, we at the player level knows what to do, how to improve.
Okay, I give you I can't answer that specifically, but I can give you an example of an exact case like that. A student couldn't have finished the study here and trying to apply to another university, has been accepted. And then since he is going there, he should forsake the visa here and get it from there. And he has been not troubling. He has been coming in and out and communicating with our section. And then this fellow say like this fellow say like that, this fellow say you go back to your country first and then come back, get a new visa. And then then he said, his friend said, no need, we can give. And then immigration got involved. Immigration kata, no, he must go back. And then the issue is actually unclarity of who is saying at what level and the truth of what is said. So when I found out that actually it is so simple, since the university is offering, it is the responsibility of that university. And he settled like that, finish. Dia nak ambil, dia bagilah. So he has to relinquish the visa for studying here. It is as simple as that. So it is incumbent on any one of the members who is in the chain of that confusion to break that vicious cycle. That's all. It does not have to be that she or he write to all the involved members. It only needs one person to clarify. In this case, our office clarified that since he is getting an offer there, it is the responsibility, and they agreed. They agreed. It's sorted. No need to call for anything. A specific example. Sebab otherwise it becomes an entropy again. Writing and communicating and papers and email and another entropy. I can quote how Omar studied dia tanya Hizbah apa? How Omar settled the problem when there was a fellow, quote me if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, asked, what if it is this? What if it is that? How would we deal with this? His short answer is, we'll wait for that to happen. Then we will sort. Because, I mean, there's a wisdom in there. But sometimes it's not applicable also. If you don't anticipate things when you should anticipate, then he didn't mean that. He meant that, why don't we wait? We'll cross the bridge when we come to it.
Okay, Dato', there is another question from our online participant. Is the office going to have annual report which will be available to the public?
The report that we give, we only give to the board of the president, the board of governor, the chairman of the board, and it is the university decision whether to put it out. I see no problem with putting it out, but it's not our duty. We only give the report to the university and not anyone but the BOG. He appointed. In that way, why is this so? You may think, oh, terror sangat. No, it is a question of preserving integrity, transparency, independence, and the whole lot. Because the office is only responsible to the Board of Governors, not to anybody else.
Perhaps the unasked question under that is the concern. That question just now is the concern of confidentiality. If the report is given out, then what are the details that are reported to ensure so that people know, well, the expectation is there is going to be confidentiality, right? When people go to the Ombudsman office.
I don't get the...
Just now when you say that reports will be given out, but then we're supposed to, my understanding is the Ombudsman office will maintain the confidentiality of the cases brought to them. So maybe perhaps that was the concern behind that. If reports are given out annually, regardless to whichever body, how do we know that the confidentiality is maintained?
Okay, she's saying, for those who not so clear, since the report is given, since we say we are confidential, and then we give the report to the Board of Governors, how can we ensure that it remains confidential? Actually, there are many determining factors along the way. when we say we give a report, it means something. It means it, and it does not mean many things. Like there is a case of A accusing B, and B fights back, and we go into the nitty-gritty of things, and that remains with us because it's recorded, kept. But when we say we give a report, it does not mean that all of this will be reported there. It will be just a report of the case. That is on this date, this day, so and so have this problem, and this has been settled like this. The essential points in this case are this. I mean, that's harmless, innocent, and factual. We haven't cheated. We haven't done any shaming. We haven't done anything that with intent, with a malfeasance, malevolent, no. Malevolent, whatever. Lawyer pandai lah ni. Tanya Najihah. No bad intention. No malafide. Whatever. Dia orang pandai. Yes. So it's like a medical report. Medical report is confidential. It's kept with the doctor, and he does not reveal it to anybody. But if another doctor needs that information to treat the patient, he will give the principle of the problem. Not talking about the funny detail, but the detail of the operation will be given. And that's okay. Itu tak surprise me. Surgeon pun agree. Selalu surgeon payah nak agree. Dia teruk oleh lawyer. Degil. Yes, thank you for the question about confidentiality.
Dato', another question from our online participant. How can the Ombudsman guarantee to the complainant or public that there is no bias in serving complaints from within the university itself? Because it could happen when the Ombudsman himself is very familiar with both the complainant and the individual.
Okay. We are all human beings. This applies to everyone, including to the questioner. All human beings. So to the best of our ability, to the best of our conscience, and to the best of those fellows who trusted whatever position is being given, that is the what you call the situation. So if the person not educating, if the person listening to the case is biased, that means it is bad for the system. I mean, bad is bad. But it is hope that the running of the show and the people running the show are all honest people. And at some point, we trust. We have to. If we don't, then the whole system collapses. Suppose that now the university think that they have given the task to people, individuals who they believe can be independent, fair, and things, so be it. But if it turns out that it is not, then things have failed. That's it. Just like you question, anybody question, what if the judge in the case is biased? It's the same thing. The only judge that is ahkamul hakimin is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yang lain tu, you can take your stand. You say, I don't trust you. Yes, they answered the question. Yes.
Assalamualaikum, Dato'. Do you have the flow chart? How, if I, example, if I have a report to your department, how many days you have settled this problem? For example, for one staff already terminated by the university, they have a limit time to appeal to the president. Have the time frame or flow chart, how many time?
Oh, you liaise with the office, get an appointment, come and to the office, and there will be engagement, discussion, and if we need any documents, we will look at it, and then we will get back to the person. If we need to see again, we see again. If we don't, we just write the report. Okay? No problem. It's very simple. I see it's informal. There is no strict procedure. Macam bukan macam mahkamah. Hari ini mention of case. Lepas tu 3 bulan lagi hearing. Lepas tu establishment of what you call prima facie case. Itu baru bicara tahun depan. Dah bicara magistrate court, lepas tu high court, lepas tu appeal court, lepas tu appeal lagi federal court. 10 tahun baru habis. No. Here only within 2-3 weeks should be over. Okay. You're from which department? Union. Oh, ke-1. Ya. Olah. Dia deal with legal things. Legal thing. Dia educate. Dia bagi punishment. Dia bagi, itu dia. In fact, people tend to identify same function. No, we don't. We are related, but we don't. They are formal. We are informal. You tak boleh duk pergi bincang dengan legal advisor. No. Ni allegation. Itu bolehlah pakai allegation kat sana. Kat sini bukan allegation. Dia accuse saya lah, doktor. Dia accuse saya buat ni, tapi saya tak buat. Saya berasa saya sedih sangatlah sebab kena tuduh macam ni. That is our atmosphere. In legal atmosphere lain. What is your allegation? What is the charge? Tulis charge. Silap sikit pun dah tak boleh dah. And then bila charge is proven, then you get the punishment. We don't punish. We say if possible like this. If you are happy, sure, then that settles it. Nak minta maaf ke, nak minta apology ke, nak apa ke, that is the spirit in which we work. Try and prevent, because in say 10 cases, I'm being rough now. In 10 cases, only 2 or 1 needs to go through legal procedures. The rest can be settled informally. When they realize that, penatlah duduk go through all this is for nothing. Entropic. Grievances. Grievances, initially you can come here but not resolved. Kita ada grievancer committee. Actually, grievance ni macam I feel I am wronged, so you can come. I have been wronged. It's a grievance. Yeah.
Dato', another question from our online participant. Is Ombudsman service extended to the Sultan Ahmad Shah Medical Center?
Sultan Ahmad Shah Medical Center ni, mana ni?
Hospital, our teaching hospital Kuantan.
It is. It is. Dekat situ banyak konflik tu. Silap sikit melatah. Yes.
Sir.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, I would like to ask, with regards to management at kuliah level, where we have the department level, we have the deputy deans, we have the dean, okay? So my question is, with regards to complaints from the students, all right, for teaching and learning, should it be resolved at the kuliah level, or the students can straight away go to the Ombudsman's office, because you are talking about impartiality and so on just now? So what is the dividing line
Okay.
Okay, I got your question. Yeah.
Alright.
Is that the question? Finish. Okay. It is incumbent on both the student and the kuliah or the department to settle at that level. Kalau tak juga, then he may want to come, but we will still refer back to the kuliah or the department. That
Okay.
would be best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kalau tidak ada 20,000 kes lah sehari kami. Budak-budak kan tak tahu.
Another question from our online participants, Dato'.
Ya.
Yeah, you are quite popular at our online.
Siapa dia ni?
The registered name as Azlina Muhammad Kamil. Is it possible to report on something that happened 3 years ago?
Yes, 100 years ago also can. If we can be of help, yeah, and 100 years ago. So we see lah. If it is still a problem now. Yeah. Correct. No problem. If something happened 100 years ago, which is good, very good. Yes. I'm with humor, but it just means that it is timeless. But we will see and evaluate and see whether it would, because the bottom line is, does it enhance the institution? That's all. Or does it denigrate the institution? That's all. And we see what it is. Thank you very much for that question. Ni adakah yang masalah 3 tahun dulu? 3 tahun dulu, bahwa 2017, still early. Case 20 years ago, 1998 tahun berapa tahun lah? 12 tahun. 22 tahun pun aktif lagi. Yes. No more.
Another question, Dato'. How does the office plan to instill confidence in the IIUM community to encourage them to lodge complaint freely?
How to encourage to complain? Actually, it should be the opposite. How to discourage them from complaining, settle at their level. Macam tak ada kerja pula. But I mean, humor aside, there are some times that if you report something that you will be seen as troublemaker, that is important. It shouldn't be like that. Then that is why we provide this avenue of whistleblowing. That means you can come quietly and present the issue, report to us in all honesty, and then we will get to it and see what is what. So humor aside, it is important. If you see any evil, any bad thing in your perspective, you think that the university should know or take action, please do so. Come over and tell us. That is, of course, one of the main functions, whistleblower. But not out of vested interest or ill intention, fitna, and that is not good. But if it is really you are seeing something bad, like so many cheats in the examination, they cheat in the examination, and you see it, and you don't report it, then that is not good. Or stealing, that you condone it, that is not good. You say, biarlah dia kerja dia, bukan kerja aku. That is not good. So that answers the question, I hope.
Any more question? I guess there is none. So again, thank you, Dato', for the remarkable talk. Any more? Thank you, Dato', for the remarkable talk. And it is hoped that the talk given has exposed the participants to the IIUM Ombudsman as an independent and informal alternative channel for resolution. all are welcome to engage with our office in the spirit of resolving issues and enhance the university we are working in for the benefit of all. With that, we would like to thank everyone for coming, including those who are watching to live streaming. Thank you again and have a nice day. Assalamualaikum.